Welcome to Colney Talk Podcast.
Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Welcome to another exciting episode of Colney Talk Podcast, your bite-sized breakdown show. I'm your host Alex. First-time listeners, glad to have you here. And to my returning listeners, thank you for sticking with me. As always, I talk a bit about the Arsenal match and pick out my top 3 players who shined and one odd player not good enough I get to call out. I can't say I'm upset, but the grave incompetence from these refs that led to this 1-1 stalemate at Goodison Park. It's a match that led us leaving this chance of a victory with so many other different thoughts. I'm sorry to say we've seen this story before, and at this point, I think I'm over it. So, which I'm sure you are as well. Questionable officiating. That's really what sticks out. I'll touch on this and get on the tactical nuance and missed opportunity that left us hoping we could have done more. But I think there is a sense of calm or acceptance. I had that just because of how the game already shaped up. The first half, Arsenal took a measured approach to the game with a really heavy rotation to the lineup. We kept players fresh ahead of the big clash Tuesday, and I think that's the reason why I lowered my expectations. I was hoping for a win, but anything in between would have been acceptable given how it would kind of play out, but not in this fashion because we didn't deserve this draw. It was given. We didn't just make it in a situation that we made it difficult for ourselves, so to speak. But, I'll follow up on that. Despite a slow start, knowing exactly what we were facing in this, hostile environment as far as Goodison Park is concerned, we had to deal with it the best way we could. Stoppages of injuries and fouls. Arsenal gradually found a rhythm. Raheem Sterling, though, he was starting in place of Martinelli. So, again, as I said, lowered expectations. Not really sure if it was going to be any worse. But, looking to be surprised by a good performance. So, he was lively in the open exchanges. He used his pace. He helped the team early on. However, the clear-cut chances were hard to come by as both teams struggled to find creative chances and meaningful opportunities. At least it was tilted more towards Arsenal because we were up for it in that regard. The breakthrough for us in the 34th minute, Leandro Trossard, he showed up. He showed composure and precision as he steadied himself and drilled a low-driven shot past Jordan Pickford in the far corner. I loved it. He smashed it as you would expect our players in front to do. It was a moment of quality from Trossard that we haven't seen in a while. I can say that for sure. And we've been looking for a lot of consistency. But while he did that, there's a lot to applaud and enjoy from that because it stood out mainly as a good result of all we tried to battle from the physicality and press and aggressiveness that, Everton were bringing in the first half that we managed to endure. And it was a scrappy game, interestingly so, but this goal was that full reward out of everything. Arsenal could have doubled their lead just before halftime when, Kivior played an excellent ball over the top for Trossard to chase. Trossard managed to get behind Everton's defense, but was denied by Pickford when he rushed out to, narrow the angle. It was the best of both on either who would score or if Pickford would defend the ball and close down pretty quickly. And then Declan Rice also came close with a follow-up shot on that. But Everton defenders scrambled to block all the shots and, we missed that opportunity. While Arsenal controlled much of the possession and looked comfortable defensively, the constant disruption in play prevented us from raising that momentum and try to use that to make Everton a little bit more out of their rhythm. But then Everton on the other side, they try to match us with a lot of, the battles that will knock out players on the floor or a few fouls here and there. And I think that may have been their plan. So we tried to muscle through that for the most part. We got as far as we could. They offered little threat going forward. In fact, I don't recall any shots in our box per se, but as far as Arsenal defensive line goes, we remained organized enough to limit their attacking options. And our attacking, we were looking for more shots and more chances to put up a little bit more of distance between ourselves and Everton with another goal. And that was it for the first half. Second half began in a dramatic fashion as Myles Lewis-Skelly did not concede a penalty within the moment of the restart. That's just a different kind of story because Jack Harrison, he mimed a contact. There was nothing that was put on him. He just mimed that from Lewis-Skelly, and that's how we got robbed of our 3 points. These refs, my goodness. I mean, the equalizer shifted the momentum, and that gave Everton a renewed confidence. It simply was not something they created. It was just given to them. Arsenal responded by introducing Saka, Martinelli, and Tierney later in the game as they came off the bench to give us more control. Saka's presence immediately lifted the team, and Martinelli as they tried to create more direct one-on-ones and crash the box. As direct as they were to create more creativity and while injecting more energy, Arsenal looked comfortable with the expected added pressure that was coming. I mean, I think they knew that was going to happen. Martinelli looked sharp. Saka was really trying to get into his rhythm, but I think there was much more of giving him game time on his, for his legs. And as far as creating chances down the left flank and testing Pickford a little bit, I think it was Martinelli that did more of that, which was good. I mean, we had a chance from Martinelli's shot to get a second goal, but that was a good save from him. Despite these efforts, Arsenal struggled to break down Everton's offensive block. And as the game wore on, Declan Rice came close with a free kick that forced Pickford into another save again. So this was our response to putting that pressure on Everton and the keeper to find some other way to get up top. While Mikel Merino narrowly missed a header from Tierney's cross, these were those alternatives and how we wanted to do something. However, Everton, they managed to disrupt our rhythm with frequent fouls, as I said, but it was clear that they had to apply more pressure to try to push the game back away from their half, or more so into our third. And, the tactics, it slowed it down for them. It didn't give them all that window that they needed, but there was a little bit more of a push coming from them, which we had to absorb a whole lot more. And I think we were effective given the rotation of the squad, the players. There wasn't really much to complain about. The officiating in this match became the talking point, folks. Beyond the questionable penalty decision against Lewis-Skelly, there were moments when Everton appeared fortunate not to receive for the yellow cards. I mean, for cynical challenges that halted our counterattacks. We voiced that frustration in so many ways, and I think this speaks to my reflection in these games from a neutral saying the same thing. That's always where I come from, because it's always going to be biased as my alliance is with Arsenal. But a neutral would say the same thing. A neutral will see this and make similar conclusions. It may not have to be exact, but it's just understanding how skewed and impartial these refs continue to become. It's just so weird. But that's how we came out of the game with a draw, and we look beyond that. All right, before I wrap this up, let me get right into my top 3 players of the match. First player, Trossard. He was good. He was a standout performer in terms of our attacking play, delivering the first goal that really gave us that comfort in almost getting this 3 points, or should have gotten these 3 points. He had another chance to give us the double lead there, but was closed down. His opening shot, he showcased his clinical finishing that we have missed for some time now, and that's really about composure under pressure, because I don't think so many of our players in the squad would have done that. But the way he calmly slotted Sterling's pass into the far corner, that was amazing. I mean, beyond his goal, Trossard worked off the ball, pressing Everton's defenders to give a lot of support for Myles Lewis-Skelly on the left, and creating space for other teammates to attack. So he really played his game in this match, and he definitely deserves a mention. Second player, Declan Rice. He was immense in midfield, controlling the tempo, in defending, and in attack. He was everywhere. And I couldn't really be more happier with every angle of his match, every quality that he displayed. The counterattacks and how he would break out well-timed interceptions, the way he was pushing the other players, his leadership was just so evident throughout the match as he rallied the players to keep pushing forward, and also making sure that the ref need to have a level-headed on some of the things that he was doing. Rice really came close to scoring a beautiful free kick, and I think we're going to see that pretty soon. It definitely gave Pickford something to worry about with a brilliant save, and I feel this is a sign of the growing confidence in the free kicks that he's going to be showing, because he's already doing a phenomenal job when it comes to our corner kicks. So, free kicks would just be another cherry on top. So, big ups to him, influencing both defensive plays and attacking phases throughout the match. It was great from him. Third and final player, Mikel Merino, continues his fine form in different shades. This time he was playing as a midfielder, so it was a very solid display from him. While he didn't find the back of the net with that chance from a header, his movement and passing and duels and interceptions were really crucial in how we managed to diffuse the high pressure that Everton brought, especially in the middle of the field. Merino was just brilliant, a testament to his ability to contribute in swings, from switching as our front man to just getting back to his natural position and not thinking twice like he was, switched and something dropped. His versatility, I think, is been the most invaluable of all for the season, and that is just something to make mention of because he deserves all the flowers, and that consistency in his play, top notch. I think it's going to be so much that we would benefit from this long term. So a big shout out to him there. No odd player to call out. As I said, I was impressed with the way the team played, heavy rotation, and playing in a very hostile environment at Goodison Park. I didn't know what to expect, but the way the players performed, no complaints at all. This draw against Everton was frustrating, but not without positives. Trossard played brilliantly. Declan Rice was all over the place. Mikel Merino and Kivior filling the big shoes of Gabriel Magalhaes. I mean, I think he stood up and he played his role really well. I mean, that serve to Trossard for that almost second goal, I had to go back and do a double take. But it shows that he has that quality. He shows that he has the ability. This is now his chance. Now is his time. He's going to the biggest stage of his career, and there is nothing more for him to do that. I'll support him. I support him. There's no other questions to that. I hope that he does brilliantly because it works both ways. It's a showcase in what he is, and for him to make a stand on why he should be still part of the squad in every single way, and every other reason that we may think otherwise. So really good in that regard. As far as how we played, how we managed everything, I think overall there's just all about applauding the team. The questions about the Premier League officiating, it will continue to remain unavoidable, but it almost feels like we're speaking to just a vacuum here because it's yet another controversial decision that has cost us valuable points. We have gotten that at least 4 times in this season. The inconsistencies of the referee standards has been a reoccurring issue that the season continues to show how decayed the standards have been and how the referee and the association and how they're managing this is just completely poor. Even with the assistance of the system, I'm not even sure where to begin, but it's very clear. Now we turn our attention to our match against Real Madrid. A lot to hope for because that is a big mountain to climb, and we're definitely going to be riding our support on these boys to do something good. So looking forward to it. Okay, that wraps it up for today's episode. Thank you all for tuning in. Remember, if you enjoy this, like, subscribe, and share with your fellow Gunners. Until then, take care.